Ciao! I'm Amanda Ghosh. Learn Italian for your trip. So, my dad immigrated from India to England, to the US, actually, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois. And then, plot twist, I moved to England from California. And I'm celebrating because my UK visa was approved, and every time I go through this process, it reminds me of how privileged I am. I'm choosing this. I can go home if I want to, and that's not the reality for so many people. At my biometrics appointment, I looked around at the others, wondering what it would feel like to be in their shoes. You know, I think about my dad's experience traveling from India with my grandma on her own with 3 young kids in the 60s. But still, even when it's by choice, it's really stressful. Navigating a different language, whether it's for a visa or a trip, it can be really overwhelming. And this is why I care so much about teaching practical language, not just the textbook stuff, the exact words you need in those moments when you're just trying to get through the day. So think airport security. When else do you need to take off your shoes? That phrase, take off your shoes. You don't learn that phrase in your first grammar lesson, but you need it to get where you're going before you even get out of the airport. That's the kind of real life language I care about. So I felt that same tense airport security energy going through my visa appointment. Also, I had a full-on shoe emergency at one of my first ever appointments, but that's another story, circa 2017. So this April, we were celebrating my UK visa got approved, the settlement, been through many rounds, but this round, and we also celebrated that my partner, Danny Bradley, made it to the final round of the John Lennon songwriting competition for his song about a climate refugee. And it doesn't feel like a coincidence that while I was reflecting on my own chosen immigration experience and process, that now we're sharing and talking about this story about someone who didn't have a choice. So Danny's song is called My Name is Samim, and it tells that story. And if you'd like, you can click to read more from him and about the painting it was inspired from, who was done by an artist, local here in Liverpool specifically, with a charity that donates to refugees and immigrants. It's really beautiful. So here's just a snippet, a lyric. All I've done is on my clothes, torn up gloves, worn out souls. It just really gets me every time. So in Italian, you'd say, or we use this phrase, to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Mettersi negli panni degli altri. So you can try to sound it out with me. Mettersi nei panni degli altri. And I'm not gonna lie, this one's a hard one, to put oneself into someone else's shoes. But that's the point, right? It's hard to say, saying it out loud, to feel a micro version of what it's like to be in a new place, speaking a new language. So the next time you're traveling, hearing another language sung or spoken, if you've taken some local music, listen to Danny's song, take in both the privilege and the perspective to put yourself into someone else's shoes. And yeah, Danny's songwriting does that. It gives voice to the stories we usually don't hear, and this one especially moved me. So I have a quick favor to ask. Would you take 2 seconds to vote for his song if you're taking this in April 2026? You can go to tinyurl.com/vote, VOTE, folk, FOLK, Danny, DANNY. Vote Folk Danny. You scroll down to the 4th row to folk, tap Danny Bradley, and you can vote daily through April 30th. Each time you get a chance to win a Taylor guitar. So if you want to win a guitar, check it out. And also, if you like to click the link and then read this rather than listen to it or watch it, I've also linked a video of us singing in a foreign language to show basically this concept that travel and language and music, they all give you a glimpse into someone else's world. And even on a short trip, there are moments where you don't understand what's happening and you don't have words and everything feels unfamiliar. And even though we can't really walk a mile in someone else's shoes, travel gives us that opportunity to feel empathy and to experience another perspective while also being grateful for our own circumstances. And this is actually one of the reasons why I love teaching Italian for tourists, because this is part of our travel experience, to be able to get a taste of what it's like to live, I'll be cliche, right? To be in the other person's shoes. And also, if you want to see the painting or see Danny performing it live at the Fairport Convention's Property Music Festival, you can click the link below. In general, thank you so much for voting and your solidarity with the immigrant and travel experience. To visas and votes and walking in someone else's shoes, forget fluent, get going. So, if you want to get these sent to your email written, click below. And I forgot, on shoes. So I remember the shoes that I wore at almost every visa appointment. It's because it's a moment, and it kind of gives me a moment to reflect on where I am and notice the others around me. It's probably because you have to sit in this appointment in this waiting room without your phone, waiting for a while, so you start noticing shoes. So sometimes I've felt like an ignorant outsider, like the time I wore sandals in the 104 Fahrenheit degree Spanish summer heat in Madrid, Spain, and my sandals literally started melting while the other people around me who were wearing traditional Moroccan slippers, they were refugees or immigrants, they were wearing these traditional slippers, which notably did not melt. And on the other times, it does remind me of my privilege. I could show up in a dirty gym shoes. I'm walking around New York City, walking around Liverpool. I'm dressed casually, while other people are wearing like nice leather shoes and suits, and they're really dressed formally. And it's like, oh yeah, because of how I look, how I speak, where I'm from, I don't really have to think about looking presentable for this visa appointment. And then at that point, it makes me wonder, what would this feel like for someone who isn't just choosing this or who can't just go home? So again, how to say, if I were in your shoes, or this concept of to put yourself into that perspective and privilege when you travel in Italian. It's a tough one, but that's the point of this, right? To put yourself in someone else's shoes. Mettersi nei panni degli altri. You can try again with me. Mettersi nei panni degli altri. So, see you next time. If you want my free meditation on how to relax and learn, whether you're on a trip, whether you need a visa, whatever the case, click the link below. Take good care. Ciao.